Welcome to the final part of the Hawker Typhoon build from Ted at eModels. We've gone from this great big box to this great big model. Let's go and have a look at the final part and see how we got here. See you in a moment. Well everybody, here it is. Here's the final part of the Hawker Typhoon build. Those of you who've been following the series, I'm wondering where this last episode has got to. I must apologise, but I had a bit of a medical emergency here in the workshop a few weeks back, and I had to spend a little bit of time in hospital, and hence the delay in getting you this final video out. But I'm back, fighting fit, and ready to go again. And what we're going to look at in this final video is the finishing touches to the Typhoon. She's really got to be a big beast now, and as you can see, she's really taking all the screen up. In fact, you can't get her all on in one shot. We've done a little bit extra to it since the last video, and I'll show you some of those now. What we've done, you can see straight away that we've put the gun bay covers on. They were simple, straightforward, easy to do on both sides. We've also put, let's just remove the prop a moment. I haven't glued that on yet, we'll leave that to last. I've also got the gun rails, the rocket rails done on the bottom, and I've also given it a couple of coats, in fact 2 or 3 coats of Humbrol clear. That all went over the top of the decals and everything's really settled down, so you can see the aircraft has now got a bit of a gloss shine to it. Also the canopy's gone on, and it's ready to go. Another thing we've done as well is I've put the navigation lights in. Now if you could see those before the camera goes out of focus, this one here, the clear parts, they've just been painted with, if I can find it in my drawer, I've just painted those with the Humbrol clear. There's the green and obviously the red for the port side. I remember from my marine navigating days, red for port, and port is the same number of letters as left, so that's how I was taught to remind it in my school days. Red for port side and the green for the starboard side. These are like a varnish really, more than a paint, but they do give quite a translucent colour to the navigation lights, and when they're put on the back of the clear plastic part, they do give quite a realistic look to it. On the rear end is some stern navigation lights, I would take it, if it's similar to a ship. Can't quite see them in the video here, but there's a couple of clear parts there and round here on this side as well. Now then, when you come to do these, if you haven't done them already, if you haven't put them on at the part where it says in the book to put them on, and you've left them to the end like I did, so that they didn't get covered in glue and paint and varnish and such like that, you will find that because of the space in here, let's just try and get this light a little bit better, it's all hidden in shadow here. You will find that because of the restricted space in here, you can't really get your fingers in to put them on, so you'll need to use your tweezers. However, because these parts are tiny, and because they're clear, and because they're slippy, as soon as you try to grip them in your tweezers, they'll be off across the other side of the room. and you'll lose them, or spend hours crawling around trying to coax the carpet monster into giving you them back. I spent a couple of hours dropping them, swearing, cursing, as usual, as you do when I'm here in my man cave. Good job the kids and the wife can't hear me, but be careful with them because they will fly around and they're a beast to get on. But still, that's that bit done. Everything else has been done, and we're going to look in the next stage at giving it a weathering wash. Now then, I did, or have in the past, used the Humbrol range of weathering washes. This is just one I've just picked out the drawer. This is the black. They're enamel based washes, and I'm not too keen really to use them on this project here. They're pretty good. No problem with them. Just with everything being acrylics here, I'd rather keep it to a water-based finish. So what I've done, I've seen on the eModels website that they now stock the Ultimate weathering wash from Ultimate Modelling Products. So I've gone and asked the guys, and they've sent me a couple of these up. I've picked the ones, there's a whole range of them, but I've picked the ones that were most useful for aircraft, and that is the dark dirt, the mud, because these type of aircrafts would have probably been working from grass airstrips, and I'm sure they would have picked up some splashes of mud and such like that. So we're not going to use a lot of that, maybe just a little bit on the undercarriage, and also as well a little bit of concrete just to go underneath on the undercarriages and wheels as well. Now these I've sort of tried them out on an old model, and they do seem to be pretty good. They're water based. I think they're a clay-based product, but the water-based, they'll go on over your varnished model. So that's why we put the clear on, because we don't want it to interfere with anything else if it goes wrong. These are fantastic because being water-based, if it goes wrong, if you don't like it, you can run it under the tap and everything will come off. So there's a technique to use these, and this is what we're going to do next. Another thing I've just remembered, I've just spotted the rocket rails there. I've also gone on and made the rockets. Let's move this out of the way and we'll talk about the rockets a moment. I've done the rockets, dead easy to build, easy to paint, working on the same principle as the aircraft itself. Put down a base coat, and then before the decals go on the rockets, I give it a coat of clear again, a bit of varnish. The decals went on, and then on the top here, you can't quite see it, and I don't think, will it come into focus? Come on, into focus. No, it will in a minute. No, it's not going to. Oh well, never mind. I'll try and explain it as best I can. According to the instructions, there's a red circle. On top of that, then there is a white circle, and on top of that, finally, right on the tip of the rocket, is a yellow circle. Now, the way I've done that is made myself a couple of little stencils using my hole punch. I've then gone on and made out of some spare card. I've actually used some spare plastic card. I've used a set of decreasing circles. The large one first, and the rocket goes through there, and that's sprayed red. So you get a red circle. Do that with all of them. When that's dried, then you get the next size down using your hole punch. Turn the wheel. Next size down is the white circle. The rocket goes through there. See that? The rocket goes through, and then it's sprayed with a white circle. And then finally, the smallest hole punch we've got, made a small circle again. That went over there, just pushing through is the tip of the rocket, and it's sprayed then yellow. So then we have the 3 concentric circles, red, white and yellow for the rockets. You may have another way of doing it, but that's one way I found to do that. Just search around the net. Then after that, everything was given a coat of matte varnish. And I'm not going to bother weathering these rockets because in my belief that the rockets would have been fresh out of the ammo box. They would have been loaded fresh onto the aircraft by the armourers, and off they would go, and the rockets probably wouldn't come back to see another flight, so they're not likely to get that much weathering, if any at all. That's my opinion. If you want to weather them, yeah, feel free, go ahead and do that, but that's why I haven't done that. So they'll be nice and fresh and clean, so we're going to leave those off, and they will be really the last parts to go on. Anyway, that's about it for this bit. What we're going to do now, I'm going to go and get my gloves on, put some tissues down because this weathering wash does get a bit mucky, does get a bit messy, so I'd certainly make provisions, cover your bench, cover your clothing, put some gloves on, and get ready to get mucky. Okay, so as we say here in the business, we'll see you in a moment. Okay, welcome back. Here we are then. We've got some papers, towels down on our modelling board, some gloves, and we've decanted some of the weathering wash into just a small container, just so that we're not dipping the brush in and out and contaminating the rest of the stock. What we need to do with this is just apply it quite liberally. Obviously we don't want it to get into certain parts. We don't want it to go across the canopy or across the engine, or even maybe even into the gun bays, because if you remember, we had already weathered the gun bays as we built those. The chipping we've already done, we spoke about that. So really this is just to tone everything down a little bit, give it that mucky sort of look. This is going to go over everything. Of course there is the traditional way of doing the weathering lines by doing it with a pin wash and just dropping paint or washes into the panel lines and letting it flow through. But this technique here will do everything for that, and you can, as I say, you can do as little or as much as you want, and it's really just a matter of doing it like this. You can see where it's sort of splitting because of the varnish underneath, but just get it all on. I've zoomed it out a little bit so you can see a little bit more of what we're doing. Getting the wash on, giving it a stir, make sure, because it does separate, keep stirring. We will do some of the gun bay covers, we'll put a bit of wash into them, and it'll sit in the corners, this, as muck and dirt would generally gather in the corners, and it really does go on. Just being careful not to knock your pot over. Just leave it, lift it up, move it around. It moves around, move it around with your brush. Get it all on, get it all in there. And this will tone it down and take all this shine off. Well, not take the shine off, but it will give it that worn and weathered look to go along with the rest of the aircraft. Dirty, working, grimy. But if you don't like that, you don't need to do it. Mainly myself, coming from the world of armour, we tend to like our armour all mucky, dirty and well weathered. I'm not going to do too much on this. I don't think it needs it because we've done the chipping with the Mascol. Remember how we did the chipping with the Mascol? This is going to pick up those panel lines. It's going to wash itself in. It'll pick them up. Aircraft are not dirty, muddy things. They're just more, like a dirty car. When you've been driving around, particularly in the winter, they get that look about them. Getting this all on, all in the parts. Hope you can see it. I'm concentrating more on getting the weathering wash on the model rather than looking at the screen to see what you can see. I say that e-models have the full range of the Ultimate Weathering products, and there's some pretty good stuff coming from them. Emery sticks, these washes, and lots of others. Have a look on the website emodels.co.uk and see what they've got. What we're going to do with this now is really just to leave it. I'll let it dry and then you can come back to it. To the other side, and then we'll get on with the underneath. Now, as for the undercarriage, I've actually not glued the tyres on just yet, so I'll be able to take those off and give them a wash separately. I'll be doing that in the concrete. Just the same process. Just give it a really good wash. Get all the muck on. If you want to put some more on, you can put some more on. If you want to take it off, we'll show you how to do that. And if you want to take it all off, if you think I don't like any of that at all, just give it a run under the tap and it will all come off. But I can already see that it is picking up the panel lines in this. It's getting to look a bit grubby. Do everything. Gun bay doors, remember we talk about they would get mucky on the inside because of the cordite and such coming from the guns. And as you can see from the state of the workbench, you really do need to put something down, particularly if you're working on the dining table. Your significant other half wouldn't be too happy at all if you were getting this stuff all over, even though you could clean it up. And that is how we apply the Ultimate Products weathering washes. We can go on and keep it going. But that's what we're up to now. That's nearly 10 minutes of me applying a wash. We're just going to apply the rest of it on the underneath. We'll do the wheel wells as well. We'll do in here. Get it all into there. We won't be able to wipe this off with a cloth, but we can get some Q-tips, cotton buds or whatever you want to call them, and we can wash everything out from under there. Right, this will take a little bit of time to dry. It will go on, and I'll continue and put the rest of the wash on, and then when it's dried we'll come back and look at taking it all off again. So as once again, as I say in the business, see you in a moment. Well, here we are back then. I've left the weathering wash. I'd actually left it overnight because I sort of ran out of time at the end of the day yesterday. And you really need it to leave it long enough to dry. The weathering wash, it can be applied by airbrush, and it can be applied by a brush, as you saw us do just earlier. It does dry a little bit quicker when you apply it with an airbrush, and also a little bit finer. You can probably see on the video that it is quite mucky now. You can see on here on the white bands how the muck's gone into it. It's also picked up the highlights in the rivet detail. And gone into most of the panel lines. Does look a bit of a mess, but now we're going to start and take that all off. The way to do this is just have a touch of water. I've actually got a top of a takeaway container here with just a dab of water just sloshing about there, and some kitchen towel. I've got some blue paper roll. Don't need much water. All we need to do with this is just fold it up, and then just apply a dab of the water. Don't want it wet, just a dab, and then just start and take off the weathering wash. I find if you take it away in the direction of the airflow, as though the air is coming over the wings, you can see it's coming off here, and you can take it off until you're ready. Take it off, put it back on. That's all we need to do. Just keep turning your towel around. It's wet on the other side, so we don't need to wet it again. Just wipe and leave it to dry. Let it come off. Let it come up, and then you can see where you need to take any more off. I really want to take quite a bit of this off, really, because we've done the chipping. I don't want it to make it look like it's been left in a scrapyard for a number of years. I want to make it look like it is being used, but the guys are still out there in the field, and they're looking after these, and I'll give them a bit of a wipe down. But at the time when this is depicted with its D-Day stripes, it will have been flying a few sorties daily, and picked up some grub and grime. Been down, rearmed, refueled, and back again, supporting the troops on the ground. There, so we can see how you can also see underneath. It's probably a little bit better to show you against the grey background how it's all gone on. Let's say it does fill in the panel lines up here. Can we get this into focus? No, this camera doesn't want to play its focus today. So we can get into the panel lines and the rivet detail. At the end of this, I'll take some photographs and attach them to the end of the video so we can see the finished result. But that's really all we need to do with this. So what I will do is, first of all, I'll change my cloth around. What I'll do with this is I'll just get on and do the top. You can watch me do this. We won't do it in real time. We'll speed it up and we'll do it like this. So hang on to your seats. there we are. That's just the upper part done. I've still got to do the underneath, but we won't want to sit here watching everything for that. I am going to go on and use a few cotton buds, just dip them in, and just in the little corners where there's been a bit of an extra build-up of the weathering wash. It just serves to take it out, and also, like the gun bays, you can just rub a little bit. Excuse me, and you can even sort of move the weathering wash around just to fill in the corners, just to where the muck would gather, and that's really as much as we need to do on this. I'll continue with this, and then we'll come back and just do a little bit more on the weathering, just a touch. We're going to look at maybe just doing just to highlight some of the wear and tear and engine sort of grease and muck and stains like that. And we'll do that in a moment. So I'll get on with this, I'll do the underside, and then we're all ready to go. We're on to about the final stretch really. So once again, see you in a moment. There we are then. I've been across and cleaned it all up. Took some of the weathering off the bottom, the weathering wash off the bottom. You can do it with your fingers if you want to do it that way. A technique I did find when I was doing this was, if you get a little bit too much on, take a dampened paintbrush and just apply the dampness over the area where you want to lift it, and then just dab it off with a cloth. That takes the excess off, but still leaves enough of the wash still to fill in on the rivets and the panel lines. It's quite a I've left this one so it's quite a subtle technique, but it just gives that little bit of extra depth and dimension. What we're going to do now is just apply a little bit of Humbrol weathering powder. We've gone back to the Humbrol weathering powders. This is just the powder. We can make a wash with this, with the weathering powder, to come up with something similar to the ultimate weathering wash. But what we're going to do with this is just use this quite neat really. Now if I can zoom my camera in without losing you all and getting it too much into focus, we'll just zoom that in, and then I'll move it over to show you the bits that we're going to work on. We're going to work on these here, the gun shrouds. I'll show you this side just to give us a bit of an example, and all we're going to do is use it neat, and then just going back to the old cotton bud type thing. I'll just move it around so I can get it in and let you see it as well, get everything in there. Right, all we're going to do is just apply it neat. There is ways of mixing this with Fix and Humbrol Clear and such like that, but for this instance all we're going to do is just apply a bit to your cotton bud, and then what we're going to do is just give it a rub over the ends of the gun shrouds, just to give it that bit of a look of the guns being fired and the cordite leaving a trail along the gun barrels. You can do that for both sides. It will rub off if you just leave it unfinished, but once we've done this, the whole thing is going to get a coat of matte varnish. So that really then should fix it. You can, if you want, mix it with varnish straight away and it'll hold on, but this way, doing it like this, it's like the weathering wash. If you put too much on or get it wrong, let's see if we can get the other sides done. I've already done a little bit on this side just to give it a go. Just streak it down, doesn't need to go too far, you don't want it black, you just want it to give it that hint. And we can do the same as well, just in here, just behind the exhaust shroud, the exhausts. We've got out of shot now. Cool. This camera just doesn't seem to want to play today. I've no idea why. The settings are all the same. Let's zoom it back out a little bit. There. What we're going to do here is just to give at the back of the exhausts is just a touch. Not much. Just a touch along the bodywork. Just to give it that staining and exhaust type look. Just all adds to a bit of the depth in there. Hopefully at the end of the video I'll put some photographs on and you can get a look at what the whole thing looks like. Now the weathering wash has gone on, and you can see you can't really pick it out in the video, but it has given definition to the panel lines and the rivets. As I say, it's just a matter of putting it on, washing it off until you're happy with it. One thing I did read in a book I was reading about fighter pilots and such in the Battle of Britain and such like that, I'm sure the same will apply for D-Day, is that the ground crew, the pilots, took great pride in cleaning the roundels, the aircraft recognition numbers and roundels. Two things. Once it was I suppose a bit of patriotism, keeping the flag clean as such, and secondly, you sometimes don't get a chance to get a second look when you're in combat in mid-air. So you want to make sure that your aircraft is noticeable at the blink of an eye. So if anybody asks why everything's grubby but your roundels and your aircraft numbers, you can tell them that's why. Anyway, we've done that. The same applies now to the undercarriage. What I'm going to do there is to give the undercarriage just a touch of a wash in mud, using exactly the same technique as what we've just done. These aircraft will have worked from grass airstrips as well as concrete airstrips. It's not always the best of conditions on a grass runway. After a bit of rain they are going to get muddy. It will splash up a little bit. Now we're not going to talk about doing it like a tank or anything like that. It's just a matter of applying some of the wash just really along, just giving it a few splashes. Maybe a little bit just splashed up under the wings, under the onto the tips of the wing flaps, and that will be about it. So the only thing left now is to finish that weathering off, put the prop on. That's got a bit let's show you it. Put the prop on and then put the rockets on, and then really she's done. So I'm going to go away and do that. When we come back next, we'll have a quick roundup and really we're finished. So once again, see you in a minute and we're all done. Right, well, here we are, all done. I've put everything together now, all the final parts. You can see underneath the rockets have gone on. Really finishes the underwing armoury. Is that the technical term for them? I think there is a technical term for ordnance underneath the wings. The propeller's gone on, finished. Everything's been done now. All it really needs for me to do now is just to give it a coat of matte varnish. As yet I haven't quite decided whether to go down the Humbrol route and use the Humbrol clear coats, matte coats like this, or whether to go away from Humbrol completely for the final finish, because we've got this far and I don't really want to mess it up now. I'm sure that the Humbrol aficionados will say there's nothing wrong with that. but I really want to get a nice flat finish on it. I maybe have a practice with one or two products, have a word with the guys at eModels and see what they recommend, and then take it from there. But this is it. I've actually had to zoom the camera out a little bit because she is a big beast, and really to get her all in. So what do we think of it? Well, it's been a great build. It's been a long build. Really just a matter of taking my time with it, doing everything right, doing a bit of research, having a look round, and enjoying it. It's been a really enjoyable build. The instruction manual is quite comprehensive, and I'm sure if you followed that step by step right the way through, taking all the things in order and then following the painting diagrams at the back, you won't go far wrong with this model at all. The detail on it is absolutely superb. It's a shame that a lot of it's been hidden. There's a lot of work gone into the wheel wells. Just visually what you can see now, there's a lot of work in the wheel wells, in the engine bays, in the cockpit itself. There's a mass of work in there. There's a lot of stuff been hidden as well. If you watched as we built it and we've gone along, you'll see that there's all the fuel tanks and the wings and the wing spars and everything. There's unbelievable what Airfix have done with this. Just hope that maybe they'll go on and retool the Spitfires and the Hurricanes to make a mate for this. It's big. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'll have to discuss that with the significant other. And really, it's been a fantastic build. So if you fancy doing it, if you've liked this and we've gone along, give eModels a ring. If you get stuck, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to drop us a line, and we'll see what we can do to help. But that's all there is to it now. I'd really like to thank eModels for giving me the opportunity to build this, and for everybody that came along and watched as it went along. But thanks for that. I'm going to follow this up now with a few photographs, just to show you that some of the detail and how it's finished and gone together. If you were wondering, I have done some weathering underneath, not a lot. It's really very subtle, and it's really that you may not be able to see this in the photographs, but in the video, but I'll try and pick it up in the photographs to follow. But thank you for your time. Thank you for staying with us from video 1 right up to this, the final video, number 10. And hopefully I'll be back along to do another build for you. That's if you want me. That's if eModels want me. But thank you for that. So from Ted at eModels, thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again sometime. But thanks for that. Bye now.